Ladies and gentlemen, you guys ready? Kick it off. Week 3, Halloween Horror Nights. Coming up. I'll tell you what, guys. This whole the tech stuff right now it's getting on my nerves today. Nothing is working out on the computer. But ladies and gentlemen, what's up? And happy Saturday! Saturday. I'm already having
What is that?
a stroke now, but happy Saturday evening, guys. Have we done a Saturday live stream
I don't think ever.
ever? I don't know. I feel like we have once. If not, it's been a
I
long
don't
time.
know.
I don't know. It's been a while. I feel like we got used to doing Fridays, and then we got back on the Tuesday, and then here we are with a Saturday live stream.
Also, we did not plan the matching
No,
shirts.
Steph came around the corner coming into the studio, and she had it on. I was like, oh, cool. That's what I'm wearing.
It was too late to change.
Steph was like, no, and I was like, please keep it. It's good. We look like we work for it. But anyways, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing for this beautiful Saturday evening, wherever you guys may be, whether you're at home, you're out on the road, or if you are currently at Halloween Horror Nights, either in Orlando or in Hollywood. So we got our folks out on the West Coast. They got their event going, and we have, of course, our friends here just down the road in Orlando, rocking and rolling. So I want to talk to you guys for a quick second about what tonight's live stream is going to be, and that is a couple of things, right? We're really going to focus on talking about Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. We're going to talk about the houses that we recently went through this week for week 3 and tell you guys kind of an update to our list and where we have the houses ranked, because last night we got to go through Horror Nights as like an off day, and we hung out with some close friends of ours. And I'll tell you what, the walkthroughs of the houses improved drastically since the last time we talked with you guys. And I do want to apologize that we've kind of been MIA. We've been busy. We've been having a lot of personal stuff. But here's the thing. We've been enjoying the event. And that's what's really important to us. And that's what we've been trying to get with.
And meeting a lot of people. Even the days when we bring the cameras, like we end up like meeting people and just talking to people and not really filming. So we promise we will start making more content soon. But It has been just kind of like enjoying the event, like meeting all of you guys, all of that. So,
and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, even Chris Williams said resting and recovering, those HHN steps add up.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, like, I'm feeling my age, and a lot of people's like, oh, you're still very young. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling it. My legs are completely worn out. My back is gone. And I'm like, we're only at week 3 and it's still going. We still have tonight, tomorrow to wrap up the 3rd week of HHN Orlando. That is at least. And then the 2nd week for Hollywood's going strong right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're super exhausted as it is, no matter how much preparation you do for HHN when it's here. It does get to you. That's for sure. But we're going to be talking about some of the our rankings and stuff, and kind of where the houses lie and stuff, as well as some of the operational changes and updates that we've seen throughout the event. We may even discuss some routes with you guys for what we've noticed has been the most optimal routes, and of course, we're going to praise Express Pass as we go along, and then we might briefly mention HHN Hollywood for a brief minute. But what we're going to do is we're really going to save our Hollywood discussion for this coming Tuesday, which that's 3 days away. We're going to be having our next live stream this coming Tuesday, because that'll be the last live stream we have until we board the plane and head out to the West Coast for our first ever HHN Hollywood experience, which we're going to be filming for you guys when we're out there. Yeah. So Tuesday, for all of our West Coast folks, mark that on your calendar, because we're going to need y'all there for some help with the conversation we have for HHN Hollywood. But we'll be discussing HHN Orlando, the houses, the scare zones, some of the things. And one thing I really want to bring up too is HHN and Universal released a video. I call it like a live video. It wasn't a live stream by any means, but it was a pre-recorded video that they had. It was like an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm going to have to pull it up. We're going to talk about a couple things from it. The last time they did this was back in 2018. And if you guys remember, we've talked about that kind of content on here for a long time now, a long time. And excuse me, this year, in general, we've been really like hounding, I guess, the universe with HHN needing to put more content like that out there since 2018. And I can't tell you how many times we talked about it. And just recently, HHN and Universal actually put a video like that up. And when we got the notification of it and stuff, we were a little shocked. I was like, no way. Like, really? Because that stuff, that's the content that me personally, at least the type of fan that I am with HHN, that's what I look forward to all the time. So they got that up. We'll talk a little bit about that and stuff and how it correlates with tonight's live stream with the houses and things we're going to break down. And then one thing I want to mention, actually, maybe I'll save it. I'll save that for later. We're going to hold on to that. A mystery mention. A mystery mention
I don't
for
even know
later
what
on.
you're talking about.
So, Mish said they're listening. I know. I got to save some of our ideas. I don't want to give them all of it right away. So, let's go to discuss yesterday. Halloween Horror Night. And I'm going to put this out there. I want to start off the live stream with this discussion. Yesterday, we went through all 10 houses and Express Pass. Hey, that's what it's there for. It helps you. We went through 12 houses, right? 10 houses, 2 of them we went through twice. The Universal Classic Monsters Unmasked house. We went at what? It was between like 9 and 9:30. It was in that time frame. I can't remember the specific.
Like 9:15.
Like 9:15, 9:20. We went through that house. And I got to tell you this, guys. The walkthrough that we had with the classic monsters, it was during a cast change, which is the worst timing you can get for a house.
I think we got like 4 houses last night with cast changes.
Oh, yeah. We did get a lot of cast changes.
All the bad timing.
But here's the thing. This is what surprised me. We got a cast change for classic monsters. So we got the end of one cast at the beginning, and then at the end of the house, we got the next cast in. Applaud our classic monsters because that was one of the best run-throughs I've had in a house in a very long time.
It was good.
I am very biased when it comes to the classic monsters, but that run-through right there, that sparked something inside of me where I was pumped for the rest of the night. We were going through houses and the houses are improving. The energy's getting there. That's one thing we always talk about. And you guys can ask Stephanie, you can ask anybody that hangs out with us at HHN. The one thing I'm always yelling in the house that I want to see is energy. I just want raw energy. Classic monsters, they knew we were coming in the house because once we got in there, it was from the very first scare to the last scare. It was non-stop. And that was during a cast change. So applaud the classic monsters for one heck of a run through and really changing. Once we went in that house, that changed our lineup. And we were like, we're going to have to look back at the rankings for our houses because things really changed for us. Then applaud them as well for the fact that they were doing a cast change and we saw monsters immediately swap and get right on it and hit their trigger and go. That's exactly what you want to see. And that's something that show direction really pushes for them to do. And we're talking middle of the day or middle of the night, I should say, in their run. They're still going at it. So a big round of applause for our classic monsters. They made my night. That was the best. I'll tell you what, that was the best moment I had at HHN for this year so far. That moment when we went into Classic Monsters around 9:15 during a cast change, that was one of the best experiences I've had at the event so far. Yeah. Which is why we're going to have to change our rankings for the houses. And we got a lot to talk about. But that's what I want to say because, holy smokes, I'll tell you what, it was, I was really happy. I mean, and Steph could say, like, we were excited. We got out of the house and it was like, yes. So I wanted to start the live stream by kind of saying, a round of applause for Classic Monsters Unmasked for really getting it. And something that, I thought of as we were going through too, just because of how good that run through was for us, I wanted to make like our own official like House of the Night award for every time we go to the event. We do all the houses like we did last night. Give a House of the Night award.
Yeah. And we don't always do all of them though.
No, it's very rare when we go for a whole night like we did last night. We're usually in for a little bit because we got to get back home to the baby. So we were there.
The baby, he means the dog.
The Babo, if you guys know, is Hondo, of course. But yeah, so we'll be doing like House of the Night awards and like House of the Weekend awards and then House of the Month award. And then we'll be doing House of the Year award at the very end and stuff with you guys. So we got a lot of stuff planned out and stuff that we're working on. And this year is kind of, because of all the personal things we have going on. This is kind of a work in progress year. We're getting things finalized, figured out, so that next year we can be ready to
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Fred had a question that I think a lot of people who haven't visited yet are probably also wondering. But how has the crowd flow been without having a lagoon show? And
It's a good question, actually.
I think it's about the same. I don't really notice too much of a difference from like last year or previous years to now. I feel like all of the same spots have bottlenecks over by Fast and Furious and the San Francisco Scare Zone, like huge bottleneck, but that's always like that.
Yeah, the entrance to Central Park where La Bamba is from that side.
Yeah.
It's always a bottleneck.
Yeah.
This year's HHN's been very busy.
It has been. But the lines for Express haven't been too bad.
And we'll get into that. Actually, let's dive into it now then. So one thing that I've noticed, we were talking about this last night because we were at HHN all night last night. And how many times have we been to HHN so far? I think we've gone every single night, except for, of course, Saturdays we can't go because we only have the Frequent Fear Plus pass. And then last weekend we did not go Friday night and Sunday night.
Yeah.
We had family in town. We wanted to spend some time with them. So we didn't go those 2 nights. So really, like, we've been almost every single night to the event. And one thing I've noticed is just the consistency with how busy HHN is. And it's usually around 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is when the big drives of the crowd starts coming in. Between 8 and 10 is kind of where it's like at its busiest. 11 o'clock, that's where you can start seeing the crowds shift. You'll see the waves where they're going throughout the park. Midnight, it starts to die off. People start leaving. And then 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, it really starts to peter off and you start noticing that difference.
Yeah.
I realized yesterday we were walking around and it was a busy night in all. And we have Express. Like I said, we were able to do 10 houses 12 times, right? For the whole night.
Not all 10, 12 times.
No, like I said in the beginning of the stream.
We did 12 walkthroughs.
Yeah, that's actually, better say 12 walkthroughs. And so I noticed, the whole night, like we got done with all 10 houses by like 10 o'clock. And we started with Stay and Scream, and we weren't like rushing to do all the houses. We were just taking our time. And I'm like, man, it is so busy in the park right now. But the express lines, I feel like it was like 5 minutes we're in the house.
Yeah.
And they were very quick.
I will say it is like, and I know we've talked about this and everybody has their plans already. So I don't know if it needs to be said, but having the like Scream early or Stay and Scream helps so much.
Yeah.
Because we were able to get those first 4 in for the night before the park even opened for like regular guests. So
Stay and Scream is a good budget extra add-on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's a budget-friendly add-on for HHN.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a difference to have that. And then of course, if you got Express Pass, that helps even a lot more. And then of course, RIP Tour, you're guaranteed to get them all. We're just not fully RIP Tour fans. We're more of the Express Pass fans just because of the freedom to move around. But here's the thing though. This is what I got to say. Last night when we went through all the houses and all that stuff with how busy it was and stuff, I was realizing like the express lines, there's nobody in the express lines. And I was realizing last night, and I kept singing Teenage Wasteland because there were a whole bunch of teenagers in the park, a whole bunch. It's a Friday night. They got tomorrow off and they're just all over the park. Right now, what I'm thinking of is these large groups of teenagers that are coming to the event. Majority of them are, I would assume a vast majority of them are not getting Express Pass, right? So you have a big chunk of guests that are not purchasing Express Pass because the teenagers and stuff, whether their parents are dropping them off or their parents are there and they're splitting up and all.
Also, I feel like they don't really care to like do all the houses. Like they'll maybe do like 1 or 2, and then the rest of their time at the event is just like mingling.
Yeah, certain ones they group off and all. I feel like they spend more time going to the rides and stuff that we've noticed, because we even did some rides last night too on top of all the houses. And I noticed a lot of teens on the rides.
We've even had viewers that are in that demographic that we've talked to, and we're like, oh, like what have you done tonight? And they're like, oh, just the one house.
Yeah,
We're like,
and they're just
okay.
and there's nothing wrong with it. They're hanging out with their groups and stuff. But I realize like those nights it makes the event busy with those types of groups coming in, but that means there is nobody with express pass, and so that's why we are big fond believers of express pass because even though one of the houses says it was like an 85, actually I believe we went through The Last of Us, which was the longest express line wait we had, which was at I think 9 minutes. I think we waited 9 minutes in the express line from when we got to the back of the line to the front of the house. I think it was, and it was posted at I believe it was at least 80 minutes. I think it was a 95-minute wait for that house once we got through. I might be wrong, but I know it was at least 80. And for us to only be waiting in the express line for 9 minutes at the longest we had of the entire night, it's incredible. And it's because I think the ratio of the peoples that were using express pass and stuff were not at the park that night.
Yeah.
So we're looking at it of like, if we had to talk to you guys of what is the slowest day to actually go to HHN and stuff, I don't really think there is slow days anymore. I don't think we can say like Wednesday and Sunday are going to be your typically slowest days because it seems all across the board they're consistently busy. I mean, it's not even like where you can load like Saturdays are still the most busiest. It seems like Wednesdays are pretty dang busy.
Wednesdays are bad.
And you brought this up the other day, Steph, where you said, I think word got out that Wednesdays are typically the slower days, and now everybody's using that.
We've talked to a lot of people that are like, oh, we thought to come on Wednesday because we thought that would be the slowest day.
Yeah.
And everybody's doing that. So now it's the busiest. Also, if they're doing team member access the same as they have done it in the last like 2 years, I think they really only get access on Wednesdays, maybe Thursdays. But that also, I know the majority of the park is not team members, but that's a big group of people that you're not allowing on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it takes away some of that.
Yeah. And one thing too, to add on there, you got to remember the only pass besides a single night ticket that gets you on Saturdays is the ultimate frequent fear pass, which not everybody has. Then the frequent fear plus pass, which we have, is the pass that doesn't let us on Saturdays, but every other day, which includes a Friday. And then you have one of the frequent fear passes, the lower tier, doesn't get you on Fridays or Saturdays. So I would say Wednesdays and Thursdays, have a high possibility of people showing up to the event than I would say a Friday and Saturday, unless of course you have the single night tickets that add on top of that as well. So we've noticed a pretty well balanced, I would say, crowd level wise throughout the night, and that's in regards of the houses, the scare zones, the food booths, the show, as well as the rides between Wednesday and Sunday.
Crystal said that Wednesdays and Thursdays have been the slowest for them, which is interesting because we're going to the same event, but for some reason, like Wednesday, we went to go get in Stay and Scream, and the line for the New York Stay and Scream was over by the meet and greet for Transformers.
Yeah, it was past that. It was by Illuminations.
Yeah.
But
then we went the same time yesterday, and it was like there was no line at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I'm gonna jump in and cut. Also, I think my connection's all wonky over here. Hopefully we didn't lose you guys. But then we realized, or actually right now, tonight, we have some people in the park. One of our friends that we were hanging out last night messaged us and said the Stay and Scream line for New York, which you have to enter from like the San Francisco side towards New York by Louis, you have to enter there. It went all the way down past the Starbucks location, past the Transformers day is kind of consistently busy. But I've noticed if you're one of those people who are coming on a Friday, or a Saturday and you have Express Pass, I think you're going to realize that the Express Pass lines are not going to be that long at all. And it's one thing I want to say, and I'm bringing in Hollywood for a quick second because one thing
Connection's
that
really bad.
Mhm.
People are saying the connection is really bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, guys. Connection's bad. It's not our fault. It's Hondo, tapping in. If it starts like losing out and I see it on our end, we'll pause for a second and see if we can fix it. But um, like I'm saying, real quick, I'm gonna bring Hollywood into the play. The one thing that I love that Hollywood does that Orlando doesn't do at all is they actually post the wait time for Express Pass for their houses as well. So
Mm-hmm.
when you go up to a house in Hollywood, you can see the standby line for the house as well as the express line.
Mm-hmm.
And in Orlando, you don't do that. So most of the time when we go in Express, we're kind of like we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. It could be a very long line for Express, or it could be nothing. But last night, we realized a majority. I say a majority, all of them did not have more than a 10-minute wait for us, no matter what the posted wait time was. So that's the one thing I want to say. Express Pass it's incredible. We love it. If you can get it, get it. I know it's expensive. It's hard to budget for something that expensive. Trust us. We know we pay for it. But it's just that much worth it, and especially on nights like last night, which was so busy at the park. But a majority of those crowds that were at the event, those groups, they were not buying Express Pass because a lot of them were teens. So I don't think they would be buying Express Pass. So that means there's a smaller percentage of people with Express Pass for that night, which benefited us.
Chris had asked if now I lost it because it was way back. Oh, do you think people who are saying they're waiting an hour for Express are lying? I think it. I don't think they're necessarily lying. I think there could be a few things going on. One of them being when you get in line for Express and you expect it to be a walk on because you have Express, and then it ends up being like 20 minutes, it can feel like an hour.
Yeah.
But I think that could be one thing. And then also, we have had like, and this was opening night, so things have gotten better. So I don't know. We haven't waited an hour for Express since opening night, but the Chucky Express line on opening night was atrocious.
Yeah.
And we did wait probably
It was 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
And I think the posted wait time for the house was 55.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So yeah, and that's the thing too. From opening weekend to now, operations have become very fluid.
I think it also like I don't know. We've heard that some people have said that they've had issues with like the Oddfellow Express. We've never had an issue. I don't know. We've never really had to wait that long for any of our Express lines.
And this is what I would say. Like if you see somebody saying like, "Oh, like Express was terrible. We waited an hour and stuff," they may be lying, possibly. I mean, people lie. I mean, we're human, right? But at the same time, like that's probably their experience. It doesn't mean everybody else is having that experience as well. Same thing for Steph and I when we say like last night was fantastic. We waited no more than 10 minutes for a house in Express. That doesn't mean everybody was the same situation. Like we just were probably getting very lucky. We've had so many nights where we've gotten very lucky and so many nights where we've been very unlucky at the park. Like even Steph was saying, like 4 of our walkthroughs, we had a cash change where we missed a couple of scares because of that.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the timing and your luck.
I also think it depends on what time they're using the Express because I know for us, like we typically, other than like a few nights, we don't stay past like 11 o'clock. So we're using our Express a little bit earlier in the night when maybe like the standby line itself is not that long yet. Where like we know that the standby lines get the longest between like 9 and midnight.
Yeah.
And we've, for the most part, have kind of done the houses that we want to do at that point and are done. So we don't wait very long for Express. If we were to use Express, around like 11 midnight, it might be a longer line, but we just haven't had that.
Yeah.
Someone asked if they're still doing the Express after 11 pass, which they are. And that could also contribute to a higher Express wait time after 11 for all those people who are doing the after 11. I don't know if it's a large number of people that get that, but it definitely would increase the amount of people using Express.
Yeah. And one thing I want to tack on with that as well, the the way that they market it is like Express cuts your wait to half of what the standby line is. And I would say 95% of the time it's not like that. It's usually like 10 minutes and stuff that you would notice even for a 60-minute wait for the standby for the house. It'd be like a 10-minute express line. But then we noticed we've had some people like even reach out to us, complaining, to Universal saying that, there was a house that was posted at 95 minutes and they waited 30 minutes for. And I always try to remind people, it's like, yeah, does it suck? Yeah, you had to wait 30 minutes. But remember, you're skipping 90 minutes. You're doing
And they
that in
promise
30
half
minutes.
of the posted wait time.
And regardless,
So,
real quick, regardless of whether they promise you this or that, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're skipping a longer line
yeah,
for a shorter line. Express doesn't mean you get to just go straight
front of
through
the
the house,
line.
front of the line.
Yeah.
It just means you have a shorter line.
And I think that's where like some people might be waiting an hour for Express, but it also might be 120-minute standby, and it's still half. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And one thing to keep in mind too is sometimes this happens to us, and it always gets on our nerves when it happens, but it's just the luck of the draw. You may be walking up to a house, let's say Stranger Things, right? And it may say that it's a 55-minute wait, but as soon as you pass that wait time like portal that's outside of the queue, like 2 minutes later, as you walk by, it goes up to like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It happens. One thing I would recommend is getting the Universal app. You get the Universal app, always check, make sure that, and sometimes what Steph and I will do when we go into the house, once we walk into the queue, sometimes I'll pull up the actual app about a minute or two as we get into the queue line, or even once we get to the back of the queue. I'll pull up the app and I'll check what is the posted wait time now, because sometimes it goes up. And if that goes up, that is signifying like at that point where we are is what the true wait time is. And it might jump up 30 minutes. Yeah. So that's something to always keep in mind. And I know you can also on the app, there is a reminder that you can put on for the attractions that you're interested in, and set a timer on it saying like, hey, I'm really interested in the Stranger Things house, but you don't want to wait 2 hours for the house. So you can set in the Universal app a reminder to let you know when the house goes down to a certain wait time. So even if it goes down to like 80 minutes and you can have it set for that, it'll give you a notification on your phone so you can head over to that house.
I will say don't like rely on that too hard, because when we were last night, we were in San Francisco, and they have a little sign there that has the wait times on it. And Dueling Dragons I think it was a 30-minute wait. By the time we got over to Dueling Dragons, it was up to 60. And I think it kept going up because everybody sees that it's the lowest weight in the park, and everybody goes over there.
And sometimes you gotta, it's kind of like a battle, right? You're fighting the crowds. Like if you're over there on one side of the park, like let's say you're over by Oddfellow, and you see Dragons or Stranger Things is posted at a 45-minute wait in the middle of the night. You're like, oh my God, we got to get over there. It's 45 minutes. If you're on the other side of the park, that's probably the last thing you want to do, because more than likely everybody's seeing that. They're going straight to that moment. Yeah. So that means on the other side of the park where you're at, you might see a decline in the waits. So you might want to wait those out versus heading all the way over to the park to do something like that.
There were 2 questions that I wanted to touch on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Tucker asked if there's any houses that using Express is bad, in the sense that there's a good queue. I will tell you that none of the queues are like fun or interesting. Like
we're going to get into that later in the stream too. We're really going to dive into that.
But there's no like, oh, you don't want to skip the queue for this because it's like really cool.
Yeah.
Like there's not really any of that, because it's all so temporary that they don't put up like.
Yeah. And to be honest, like they're all side by side. So like the express line and the standby line, they're going through the same stuff and scenery wise. So you're not getting a different experience whether you choose express or standby.
And then
we'll later in the stream with some of the stuff I want to bring up, we'll actually discuss that as well more in depth.
And then Crappy Tappy said it seems like a lot more RAP tours this year, and a few other people have said that too. With smaller groups, like 4 to 6 people in a group. Are they overselling or just more private RAP tours? I feel like this might be another thing that, ended up kind of being one of those like hacks that people are using more. Because the private RAP tour, if you can get 10 people to do the private RIP tour with you, it ends up being less expensive than doing a normal RIP tour and being with a bunch of people. Like people you don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe a lot of people are just taking advantage of doing that.
We noticed last night there are a whole bunch of RIP tours.
I didn't notice that, but
constantly throughout the night in every area when we were outside of the queue line or even in the queue lines, we noticed there were so many RIP tours happening around the park. So I wonder if they've increased the amount of RIP tours they had, and even when we're before the event starts, we can see those the tour guides walking to their locations and stuff. And there's a whole bunch more that I am noticing now than I've seen in past years. I can't confirm or deny because I actually don't know the official numbers on that. But that is actually something that'd be interesting to actually look into, because those numbers might. I don't see why they wouldn't increase. I mean, brings a large chunk of I guess ticket profit for HH in Orlando, because you still have to buy your admission to the park. Where in Hollywood you can just purchase one and it includes your admission. So yeah, and then so here, can we get a Brian from Orlando RIP tour in the future?
We should do that for opening night instead of meetup.
Oh.
Just do an RIP tour and get as many people that want to do it.
How much is allowed in a private RIP tour?
I don't know.
Is it just 10? 10 to 12 or something like that?
I'm not sure. Fred, they do they do automatically group a certain amount of people. They won't go over a certain number because then it doesn't have as high a value.
Yeah.
But for the private ones, I could do a private RIP tour just all by myself. Just with a tour guide and myself.
And we've noticed there was one RIP tour that I saw last night as walking by where there was only 4 people.
Yeah.
It was just 4 people that I noticed that were walking around. So that'd be interesting. Yeah, we can talk about doing a private RIP tour with a big group down the road, maybe.
I have also noticed that this year it seems like there's a lot more houses where the cast change goes in front of like guest walkway, and that slows things down too because they have to stop the guests while the cast goes in front of them. In the past, it would be like maybe 1 or 2 houses. I feel like it's like half of the houses this year do that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of them.
I've noticed a more increase in that style than when we were performing there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what house doesn't do that from the front, at least. I know there's always crossing guest path that happens, but they go like entrance.
Yeah.
So
really,
I don't know.
Really
I have to look into that. Maybe another day when we get out there, we'll focus on that down the road too.
Yeah.
Now, let's go ahead and I know we're talking about like the RIP tours. We're talking about some of the logistics and stuff. I just want to say this: from opening night to now, things have improved drastically. It's day and night. The event's starting to get there. The scare actors, they're figuring out their scares and stuff. We've even had multiple scare actors reach out to us and say like, oh, I figured out, I know my scare and all that stuff. And we've been able to see it, which is really good because it's a big difference from night number 1 to where we're at like night. Well, we're in like the double digits now, I believe, or something now.
I don't even know.
So big difference, big change, or big change. And it's moving the right direction. Same with like the food lines, they're moving quicker and stuff.
Yeah.
They're getting that organized and stuff. So it's working out. It's getting there. I wish it was like that since night 1, but that's not how it ever happens. You kind of have to put those events on and see it physically happen to know what do we need to actually go ahead and work on and stuff. And I think Horror Nights and Universal in general is one of the best companies when it comes to that. When they see something like that, they listen to the fans, they listen to the guests, and they actually go ahead and try to implement such changes and tweaks to make it better as an experience for overall.
Yeah, even everybody. Like certain, when we were going through the houses last night, there's even certain like scares that have completely changed.
Yeah.
Like,
and for instance, like I think what you're getting to, Blood Moon and Monsters, from what we're hearing, have changed. It's like they got updated.
I was also thinking of that bloater in Last of Us.
Oh, and The Last of Us,
that changed.
And for people like Steph and I, where we go almost every night to the event, and we're going through the houses so many times, we notice those differences and stuff. And where somebody who may be visiting for just opening weekend or middle of October, they'll see completely different events practically. Which is why we always say, like, our favorite time of going to HHN is that last weekend of September to the first week of October. That's where it's in its prime.
Which is why all of our viewers scheduled to go the last week of September, and we decided to leave.
Go to Hollywood. Check it out in Hollywood.
But what was I just gonna say?
That you love me.
We've said this to a few people, but we'll say it again, that, if it's your only trip for the season, or if you don't live here and you're only coming once, we would not recommend opening weekend or even the second weekend, because things just aren't like ironed out yet. By the third weekend is typically when it starts to hit its stride. And then Brian was saying...
Real quick. If that is the only time you can actually go is opening weekend, do it still. Still do it.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the literal only time you can, then of course, that's the only time you can.
Yeah. But continue, because you're bringing a good point up.
But yeah, I would never recommend. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be there opening night, because you want to be there as one of the first people to see it and get to experience it. But I feel like the event isn't really whole or full or polished until the third week. We, even this weekend, there were changes being made. There's changes to costumes and triggers and different lighting, and
Blood Moon, for instance, they added some different trigger sounds and stuff. One thing that we've been mentioning since opening weekend, we love Blood Moon, but the one problem we constantly see with Blood Moon is that all of the sounds from the triggers that you hear throughout the house, they're the same. It's that grunt, just where it's that never adds to the story of the house. Where now what they did is they've actually added some differences where I can't even really remember the triggers off the top of my head. We did them last night, but I think there was 4 changes we noticed immediately.
Yeah, with some actual dialogue.
And it's dialogue from the scare actors. They'll come out and they'll say something and stuff, and it adds to the house. So little changes like that,
And it's, you're never the creative team and the performance coordinators and all of that can, plan the most amazing house with all the best scares, but you don't know until you have guests actually in there, logistically how everything is going to work.
Yeah.
So that's why the first weekend is always kind of it's test and adjust.
Yeah.
Because
really the first weekend, opening night, weekend is rehearsal weekend technically. That's what I look at it, because that's the first time everything is, and it's not it's not the first time the scare actors are scaring. They have their team member preview night and all that stuff, but this is the first time we have guests. We're live. All houses are running. All scare zones are running. Food booths are running. The show's running. Operations, security, first aid, custodial. We have everything all in place, going full speed.
And it's even we know that with just different logistics of the whole event, and then also with the set pieces and the costumes and everything, the first night is, and for the whole first weekend, that's the first time that they're really putting those things to the test. Yeah. Because you haven't had a night yet where the scare actors are literally in the costume for 7 hours, 8 hours.
You have team member preview night, but we've performed during that multiple times, and that's always the simplistic night. Everything is always fluid. It's fine. It's not until you actually have guests on board,
and it takes more than one day.
Oh yeah,
to figure out what set, what props and stuff is that's not going to work.
Yeah, and things evolve. The houses evolve, the scare zones evolve, the scares itself and the scare actors, they evolve as well.
Which is great. They easily could just say well, that scare isn't as good as we, had thought it would be, but it is what it is, and just leave it. They easily could do that. But the fact that they're listening to guests, going through the houses themselves, and then saying, okay, this needs to change, and then going back and actually working on that and then changing
They're
it
doing that
before the next
yeah
weekend is
it's awesome.
It's awesome.
It really is, and that's something that you know I'm a big fan of Horror Nights. I love Universal. And when it comes to the teams that work there, that is always probably one of the biggest things that I appreciate from them is that they do listen to the fans. They do listen to everybody going through it. And not even just listen to the fans, but they go through it themselves. And one thing I want to say, we've been honored with the ability to go as many times as we have been. And we've gotten to meet some of the creatives at the event. Stuff like we just recently saw Laura Sauls there. And just talking to her for a brief moment, she's out there, she's watching not just like how the scares go in the scare zones, the houses and stuff, but she's out there watching the guest interactions. And that's the same for all creatives. Anybody who works at HHN, they're not like they just make the event. They're like, all right, we're done. I'm going to go home and I'll see you next year. They're always out there looking for things, seeing how,
especially because I will forget if
Go ahead.
Especially because they're already working on next year. So it's like they easily could be like, all right, this year, our work on this year is done.
Yeah.
Now we're focused on next year.
Yeah.
But they don't completely do that.
And that actually adds to my point that I'm about to say. Horror Nights is not an event. It's not. For everybody who thinks that Halloween Horror Nights is just an event, you're wrong. Halloween Horror Nights is a living thing. It really is a living thing. There is an actual atmosphere and an energy that is created in that park when the event is running. It's a living thing. And I think that all creators of the event, they see it that way. It's their baby, right? And you have the scare actors who are the soul, the energy, the blood of the event, the heart pumping and stuff. You have the body, which is, the decorations, the set pieces, the scare zones, the houses and stuff, and the mind, which is the creators who were able to make it function and stuff, like all of that stuff. Like Horror Nights is a living thing. It really is. I may be the only person that thinks that, but I really do believe that everybody can see it from what I'm trying to explain. And I think the creators look at it from that perspective where it's not like Steph was saying, where we just finished this year, it's happening, it's done, it is what it is. Let's start. And because they're preparing for next year already. And so it's not like they're like, oh, we're done, let's start with next year. As they're doing next year's thoughts and process and the ideas and stuff, they're always at the event and they're looking at things and they're finding things that work for this year and things that aren't working and things that they could even change to help improve the current event that's going on. So that's something that I just felt like I had to say. Okay. But and for instance, like we're talking about the improvement in the time. Even Chris Williams said every house improved for us, even Chucky. Yeah. And even though Chucky's still not our favorite, still at the bottom. When we went through Chucky last night, it improved drastically since the first time we went through it. So all the houses, all the scare zones, scares, everything, they're constantly improving, which is always great news. Always great news. But
yeah, every house has improved.
Yeah, everything has improved for us. So I do want to say this, though. Now that we're kind of talking about the houses, we were talking about the creators and stuff. And like I said, they have that video that they posted. Halloween Horror Nights released a video on YouTube. It's an hour and 10 minutes long. I'm having crazy heartburn right now. But it's an hour and 10 minutes long, and it is a beautiful watch. We haven't finished it. I think we got to the part where they were talking about Chucky, and we stopped it because we want to go ahead and save the rest of that for later. We're going to dive in.
We're watching it after we got home from HHM one night, and it was like midnight.
Yeah, it was midnight. That was actually the night that we ran into Laura Sauls. We're headed home right now to watch it and all.
Orbit Poison said, watching y'all from the line for Exorcist.
Oh, there we go.
Hope you enjoy it. Hope it's a good run through.
Hey, Exorcist is a good house. All right, get ready for that. Yeah. It's like you got to let us know when you get into the house. Put us in the pocket, and we'll do a voice overlay of the house as you're entering the outdoor scenery.
I know this is kind of changing the subject. But briefly, I just wanted to say that while we're talking about like scares changing and scare actors kind of getting their groove and evolving and all of that, we went through Exorcist last night, and I won't spoil it for anybody just in case like it happens again, but one of the scare actors completely changed their scare, and it was awesome. Okay.
It's one of those moments where you look at it and you're like, wait, what? Did not expect it, but that was fun.
Especially when you go like multiple times, so you like expect. Actually, that happened in Darkest Steel too. Like you expect to see it from one way,
Yeah.
and then it's like that was not what I was expecting.
Yeah. So talking about the houses, right? And like I said, we'll get into the that video though, that Horror Nights released and stuff, and we'll mention some things and talk about it. But I want to talk about the houses, right? All 10 houses that we did last night improved since opening weekend. And like I said at the beginning of the live stream, if you guys are just joining us, the beginning of the live stream, I had to give a big round of applause and an award to the Universal Classic Monsters Unmasked house for when we went in there. That was some of the highest energy that I've had from a house in a long time. And I was super proud of the monsters and stuff because we're very biased. We love the monsters, but they just seemed to have an energy like nobody else that night. And it was something that completely took me by surprise and it woke me up. I was like, that's exactly what I'm wanting from a house. So big shout out to the cast of Classic Monsters because they really made that night special for us last night. And that's what I want for every house. But all 10 houses, let's go ahead and talk about an update for our rank and houses. So I think we both will agree that Chucky, unfortunately, is number 10.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it's terrible. Like I said, Chucky drastically improved for us. We saw a lot more of the scare actors this time than last time when we went. We've only done Chucky twice. Actually, where's your phone? Pull up our house count. Steph's going to read off our house count for how many times we've done houses throughout the run so far.
We don't hate Chucky. It just.
Yeah, we don't hate Chucky. We don't hate anything Horror Nights does.
No.
The thing is, we've never been fans of Chucky. So this is already something that we just don't care for.
Yeah.
But it's also like Chucky's in a cursed location with the Fast and Furious one. And there are some little things that we would pick on. But there are also things about it that is exactly what its intention is supposed to be. And I think we just weren't picking it up properly.
I was telling Brian this the other night. I also think that like we heard the storyline for Chucky, and whenever you hear kind of like the storyline for a house and you get excited for it, you create like a vision of what you think it's going to be in your head.
Yeah,
and I was just expecting it to go like just go in a different direction. So I think it just like.
Did you update Dragons and Exorcists that last time? Remember the phone died?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna change it. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, I think if you're a Chucky fan, like if you are a big fan of Chucky, like in the franchise, like it's a decent house.
Yeah.
Like it's a good house. We just aren't really.
We're just not fans of Chucky.
We're just not really. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just not fans of Chucky at all. So really, we don't have a passion or drive to want to go and experience that house.
Mm-hmm.
If we do it, we do it. But how do I say this? I was planning to have a live stream with you guys where we discuss the houses, and I was thinking about doing it for tonight. I don't know how long we want to go with tonight's live stream, but we might save it for Tuesday's live stream where we talk about not only HH and Hollywood, because we're going to be going out there this coming week, but we're going to also discuss the houses like Chucky and things that we would have done to improve it or things we would have liked to see in it. But that doesn't mean it makes it better, you know. But I think that'd be really cool for us to all get together and discuss some things because who knows, maybe, you know, Horror Nights themselves will listen to it and see some of the changes too. So, but that's me with wishful thinking.
Yeah, I do think that first Chucky doll looks really good though.
Oh yeah, that like when we saw that, like I was like, I know that's a puppet, but that looks to be like an animatronic, which is how fluid it was. So yeah, there's some really good things with the house. It just like Horror Nights really ruined themselves. Halloween Horror Nights really ruined themselves because they set such a high bar every single year that even a good house may not meet that expectation, and we as the fans are like, that house was terrible. Yeah. You know, but it's still a very good house compared to your haunts throughout the world, you know? So it's really hard to kind of judge it.
I will say when we went in yesterday, I did get 2 really good scares.
Yeah. Yesterday, you got a lot of good scares.
I did. Yeah.
I think Steph was just caught off guard so many times.
Maybe.
It
I
was
don't know.
perfect. So here's the house count that we currently have for our I don't know how many nights. We haven't kept track of our nights, but this is the third week and it's still going on for Orlando. Monsters, we've gone through Monsters 5 times so far. Stranger Things, we've gone through 6 times. The Last of Us, we've gone through 4. Oddfellow, we've gone through 4. Darkest Deal, we've gone through 9 times. Chucky, only twice. Yeti, 3 times. Dragons, with the most amount of times, at 10. Then Exorcist at 8. And Blood Moon at 5.
Now, and some of these aren't, like, don't take that as, like, that those are our favorite houses. A lot of that is, like, because we do stay and scream at New York typically. So Dragon, Stranger Things, even Exorcist, like, we're up there for that. And then with, like, Monsters, we would love to do Monsters more, but it is kind of out of the way. Like, whenever we think to do it, we're like the other end of the park. And we're like, eh.
And here's the thing too, like, most of the time we usually call it a night. You guys are going to find out our age real quick. Usually by 7, 8 o'clock, we're kind of like, all right, we're going to start wrapping it up. And that's just because of the little guy here. We want to get back home to, because when we go to get to Universal for Stain Scream, we leave the house by 3:30 just to make it on time for Stain Scream. Mm-hmm. So we leave by 3:30. By the time we're leaving and we're there at 8 o'clock and stuff, we've already been gone from them over 4 hours, and we want to get back home to them. If we had it our way, we'd stay as much as we could. But we've had, I think, 3 nights so far at the event where we've stayed like past midnight. Mm-hmm. So most of the time, like when we do those short nights, like we go just to do a few houses early on until the crowds come in, then we dip. That is where we hang out, is the New York Stain Scream location, because we usually hang out in Louis to get out of the sun. And since we have Express Pass, we don't have to wait in the line for the houses. We just hang around till the house is open, then use our Express to knock those out. And the Monster Stain Scream is out in Central Park, which is directly in the sun. So we're like, we don't really want to wait for that.
And there's no like cover.
Yeah, there is no shade out there. So, but that was that is our house count for how many times we've done the house. That those numbers don't really mean whether it's our favorite or not. Mm-hmm. But as you can see, Dueling Dragons with 10. Then we have Darkest Steel with 9. Those houses are more towards the top of our list. Exorcist with 8. It's also up there. And then Stranger Things at 6, but that doesn't mean it's like up there, because it's still a little lower on our list compared to the others. It's just, it's right there. It's an easy house to hit with our Express Pass, so we just do it. And we love Stranger Things, but the house just hasn't hit it for us. So let's go back to, I know we kind of been getting on tangents here and there, but let's go back to our ranks, our current ranking for the houses as of week 3. From our most recent night being last night. I would say Chucky would be number 10.
Yeah.
And I think what we'll do is, actually, for those of you who are watching right now, spam in the chat 1 if you guys would like us to go ahead and break down those houses and what we would like to do differently for those houses. Or spam 2 if you guys want to save that for Tuesday's live stream and do a much longer live stream on Tuesday, where we break down those houses and stuff where we can see improvement, things we'd like to do, as well as having our Hollywood section. And depending on what you guys say, we'll go ahead and adjust it. But I would say 10.
Mostly 2s.
Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of 2s and stuff. I see some 1s, but 2 being the majority. Okay, cool. So tonight what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just have it be our ranks and stuff. And then on Tuesday, because we plan to go to HHN Sunday, tomorrow night. Wow. We plan to go to HHN tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And we'll do a few more houses to see how it is and to see if that changes our ranks. But then on Tuesday, we'll repeat our ranking. And it's not an HHN night, so we'll have more people to discuss and talk about this with. Yeah. But on that night, we'll go ahead and break down all of those houses where we can see adjustments and see certain things that work and things that don't work. And we'll talk other stuff too. But
yeah, hopefully no rain tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully no rain. Yeah, I pray for no rain every day.
Even if it's just like the way it's been the last 2 nights, where it's like just a light sprinkle.
Yeah, light sprinkle and
for like a half an hour and then goes away.
So number 10, Steph, Chucky.
Yeah.
Boom. But here's the question. Number 9.
This is hard. I feel like there's like 4 that are tied for for the second place, 3 that are tied for first place, and then Chucky, or 4, 5, 6, 7. I feel like I literally have like 3 that are tied for first place, 6 that are tied for second place, and then Chucky.
That's not bad. I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're all so good that like I can't pick.
Like Chucky is like unanimously our number 10 house. But then it's not like we have a number 9, an 8, a 7. It's really like Chucky gets the bronze. Then we have a whole bunch that gets the silver. And then you have the elites fighting for the gold. And they're all on the podium for us, really. So I'd say
it's a really good year for houses.
Yeah, and the houses, and that's the thing too. From the first weekend and even through the second weekend, we kind of had a definitive ranking with the houses where like the top 5, we had a top 5 that were really good and the bottom 5 that needed improvement in our opinion. But now after the third weekend, it seems like, we have Chucky at the bottom, but then majority of those houses are now in that top 5. I think from 5th through 1st, it could flip-flop either way in a sense.
Yeah.
So number 9, I'm going to have to say Stranger Things. And I hate saying this because I love Stranger Things. And last night when we went through Stranger Things, we got stopped in the house because they were doing a cast change. And we got stopped in the part where Eleven and Vecna were fighting in the Rainbow Room. And they were constantly going. And that's something that I love. And I think the trigger, it's a timed, like a loop trigger. And they were on it. And that's the thing. Like, it's an awkward position to be when you're a scare actor in your boo hole out in front of the audience or the guests walking through, and they're stopped, and you're on a trigger that's constantly going. But they were delivering it 100% nonstop. We saw them, I think, do that whole sequence 4 times or something like that until we started moving. So they like really stepped it up for the house for us. But I would still say number 9. I would have to say Stranger Things. What's up?
Chris said it's also a really good year for poop emoji in a house, apparently.
Oh, I
thought you meant like the smell in Exorcist. You mean like actually, like a guess?
Yes. We've had some issues.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. Hey, the monsters are doing their job,
I mean, the lines are long, but geez, just get out.
Scaring the poop out of you.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So let's get back on track.
So
hey, I mean the monster. They're told scare actors, hey, you want to scare the poop out of people, but like, they don't want to get too far enough. So, but yeah. So I would say Stranger Things is my number 9 right now, and it's really hard to put that down at number 9. The scare actors get in there, and it's really not the scare actors. It's just like there's certain details on it. And there's one room in particular that drives me nuts. Absolutely nuts, right? Oh, by the way, tonight's live stream, we're kind of getting tangents. We did the Behind the Screams tour on Saturday with tour guide David. Freaking fantastic. One of the best tour guides I've ever had for anything. David was phenomenal. And we did the 6 house tour, and he showed us some things in the Stranger Things house that was really cool, and something that when we went through it last night, that was something I was looking out for a lot. Anyways, back on topic. There's one scene that drives me nuts, and that is the one when as soon as you walk into Eddie's trailer, the very first, facade, you get right in there and you come out and you're on Max's side and her trailer. That next part where you have the clock on the coffin and you have just that screen of trees.
Yeah.
That, to me, I am very disappointed in that, because I really wish they would have added an effect like they did in Yeti, where they actually have trees, but then they put mirrors to make it seem like it's a larger, space than what it is. And because where that scare actor comes out, there's just too much space between the guest and that scare actor. But it's not even like it's okay, because I know in the show that's kind of how that depth perception is. But it's like, it doesn't feel like there's anything there. It's just like the floor of the soundstage and then a screen. And so that part of the whole house really is underwhelming to me, and it really bothers me for some reason. It drives me nuts. So That's really the one thing that's really driving me nuts. The rest of the house, I'm looking at it and it's getting better and I'm enjoying it. The scare actors are really figuring it out. They're connecting and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, just because it's at number 9 doesn't mean it's terrible. That number 9 house is fighting to be second place on the podium right now.
Yeah.
So, but I would say Stranger Things would be number 9 for me.
I agree.
Oh, really? 2 for 2 with agreements, huh? That's a rare day.
I see. The thing is, like, I like Stranger Things because I like Stranger Things, and I just like, like hearing the music and.
What's the best thing about that house, and why is it the bada bada boom?
Yes.
Right.
I like the trailer scene. I still
Master
really
of
like
Puppets.
that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun scene. It's a fun scene. Tuesday's live stream is where we'll talk about more about the improvements and stuff.
So, what about number 8? Would you still have Last of Us?
We went through Last of Us last night, and Last of Us completely changed for me. I probably would still have it as number 8. And it, man, I'm telling you guys, it really breaks my heart putting these houses in these positions. But The Last of Us is a beautiful house.
It is. Yeah.
It is a beautiful house. Like, Mike Aiello and Neil Druckmann from that conversation. And that's from that video we were telling you guys. Check it out because they talk about that more in depth. And it's really incredible.
There's a lot of detail.
Yeah. That house has a lot of detail. And it's beautiful. It's very well done from the perspective of what the game shows. But there are moments in there that I'm like, I feel like it's just an energy shift that needs to happen. And it will. I know it will. And when it does, I know this house, it can easily be in the top 5 for me. But as of currently week 3, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say number 8, I would go with Last of Us.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart because I'm enjoying that house. That at least last night, I enjoyed it.
I think it's like, it's close between The Last of Us and Yeti for me. But I think last night's walkthrough of Yeti, the one from above always gets me. That scare for some reason always gets me. So
with the arms swooping down.
Yeah. So like that gives it brownie points. And then the Yetis, I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, but I feel like they are leaning more into like the campiness of the house. And that made me like it a lot more last night. Yeah. Instead of like all of them just trying to be like scary and like big and, overpowering. They're like being kind of silly.
Yeah. We did get that vibe of like, for some reason, the scare actors last night in Yeti.
I don't know if they're meaning to do it.
They're probably not, but it's like some of the scares that we noticed. I'm not going to give any details and stuff, but it just felt like, I always thought this house was going to be a campy house, right? And no pun intended, because it is at a campground. But I thought, it's like 1950s, Yeti and the Loose and stuff. There's one scene that's like happy retirement and stuff. Like there are some funny moments in the house, right? And so this house, I feel like the scare actors were getting in that groove, in that vibe, and it was clicking for us. But I would agree with it as number 7, though.
Yeah.
And last night's walkthrough of it was phenomenal. It was really good. It is actually the one house out of all the houses that has potential to scare me. It's the one house that I feel myself doing one of these when they come out and stuff, because they're gigantic. So big, They're huge. If there's one thing I'm scared of, it is like large creatures and stuff. And so like the Yetis, every time they come out, I'm like, holy smokes. Yeah. So so Yeti number 7, but we had a fantastic walkthrough last night of that one.
I think it's very close between Yeti and actually Blood Moon. Or Oddfellow.
I would say Oddfellow.
I think Oddfellow and Blood Moon are like tied for 6th. Or
you mean 5th?
5th, yeah.
Yeah, 5 and 6. You could swap those two either
exactly.
way. I would agree with you.
And I think Blood Moon started really high, and it's the same thing as like Dead Man's Pier last year. First walkthrough, it's gorgeous. So you're like, amazing. Like, it looks overstimulated really good
with how amazing it was.
It looks amazing. So the first time you go through it, it's, it was like in the top 2 for us. But then the more, it doesn't have as much like rewatchability, like to go through it multiple times.
Yeah.
Because part of it is because of the triggers just being like grunting and stuff, which they did change.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And here's the thing, I'm going to jump on the train with Blood Moon real quick. There was a specific scare actor that was not just doing their trigger like majority of scare actors do, where it's just do the trigger back. They were like in the moment.
Yeah.
Where I'm not saying anything, I don't want to say anything, but they were like the character that they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those where we were like,
see, if
holy smokes.
everybody in a house could do that, all the scare actors like really get into their character and like play that character like the whole time they're on set, rather than like only when they're out, and then when they go back in they're like, and then come back out, you know?
Yeah, like don't just do your trigger. Now, if you're an IP, it is it's a little more difficult. But it's something like, even with like The Last of Us, some of the clickers that just come out to scare, if it is allowed, like I said, because it's an IP, it's run differently. But like sometimes if I was kind of more, I had a lot of space to come out into, you know, even if I hit my trigger out there and I would kind of just play like a clicker, the way they would move and then like walk around, because remember they're blind, so you can't see, you just can hear, so you can play more into the, really, like, and showcase that.
And that takes time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
But we are noticing more scare actors doing that. And there was one specifically that did that in Blood Moon last night. And like that could really elevate the house. But I do think it's still a little bit lower than where we had it like opening weekend.
Yeah.
And that's also partially because the other houses are just getting so much better.
Yeah. And like we said, all these houses, all 10 fit on third and second and first podium. So, but yeah, I would say Oddfellow, then Blood Moon. Oddfellow 6th, Blood Moon 5th. And Oddfellow is improving for us.
Yeah.
We're just not fans of the clown. Like, we don't really care for clown carnival stuff. And really what I thought that Oddfellow's house was going to be was very different than what we ended up getting. I was thinking we were going to get something a little more darker. What's the word? I can never say, but you always say it. More like freak show, more like like black magic and stuff. And,
which
and really
there are elements of that. But
yeah, I was hoping for more versus just too much carnival. But yeah, like Oddfellow, great house. We enjoy it 6th. I'd put Blood Moon at 5th just because of how vastly beautiful that is compared to Oddfellow. Yeah. So that's what I would do. But
I do think Oddfellow scares me more though, because the like tight spaces scare me more than open spaces.
It does feel very claustrophobic in the house. But we'll save for all those details for Tuesday's stream.
Okay.
Number 4.
Oh gosh. I think I would have to say Exorcist. Yeah. Exorcist.
This one's hard for me.
Or
because I want to give it to Exorcist for number 4, but truthfully, the scare actors and the Exorcist really give it their all. And here's the thing: a house could look ugly, it could suck, but when the scare actors are, and like I can tell when the scare actors are really giving it their all. Majority of the times, Exorcist has always been one of the houses so far this year where, and like consistently since the start to now, where these scare actors are giving it their all every single set, right? And because of that, I want to award them more.
Yeah.
You know, compared to whether, you know, a certain house is better or not. The scare actors and Exorcists really, you know, they go at it.
Yeah.
So,
but even the scare actors and dragons, like,
oh, of course,
they're like
all of them. I mean, all the scare actors do, you know, for all the houses, they're really picking it up. But it's just like I've seen the Exorcist be more consistent than the rest of the houses, and that's from night 1.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So it's gonna break my heart.
I just still also feel like I don't have as much like attachment to the story because I don't know it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I get that. So you would say Exorcist is number 4.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to applaud the scare actors so much for Exorcist. I'm going to give them number 3. And I'm going to put Dragons at number 4.
Okay.
Even though I think Dragons is...
You know what? Yeah, I have to agree with you.
Really?
When I think about it. Just because of the, like you said, like just the scares. Like I prefer a house that is scary over a house that is pretty.
Yeah.
So I would have to put dragons at 4 because it's pretty, but I don't really get scares in it. Whereas Exorcist is not super pretty.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I could care less if a house is pretty or scary. When I go through a house, I just want the scare actors to just be nonstop energy,
yeah.
full energy.
Yeah, which they are in Exorcist.
Yeah.
So
And I got to give it to,
yeah. So dragons 4.
And here's the thing too, like you were saying, like I love Dragons, guys. Dragons is a beautiful house. It is nerdy, and I'm all about it. I think it's fantastic. This was the one house that I was more worried about than the rest of the houses because I really wanted them to do it right and do like Dueling Dragons justice, and they did. They knocked this house out of the park. I don't think they. There are some things they could have done better, but
Always.
always. But this house is phenomenal, and I love it. These 4 houses, 4th place through 1st place, are on the 1st place podium for me, fighting for number 1. But just because the scare actors and Exorcist, what they've been doing, I got to give them, I got to give them a round of applause. So I got to put them at number 3. The scare actors and dragons are also fantastic. I just noticed the past few times we've had a lot of holes going into dragons, which is why I dropped it down.
Yeah. And it's also because we always go in the first set.
Yeah.
Which like
that's on us. That's our fault.
The first few minutes of the first set, there's going to be holes in the house because if people like call out or whatever, it takes a little while for them to fill that position.
Yeah.
And for that person who is filling it to like get in costume and everything. So yeah.
But like I was saying, 1st place through 4th place, they're all fighting for 1st place.
So 2nd
but
place.
Now this is where I think this is going to be the big conversation of the night. 2nd place and 1st place.
I'm still putting Darkest Tale at 1st. It's just been, we've had really good walkthroughs more times than we've had really good walkthroughs with Monsters. That might change down the road, but I think like Monsters, we had like that one really good walkthrough, and then we've had like some like decent ones, and then some that were like not great earlier in the run. Whereas Darkest Tale, I think we've had like maybe one like not great walkthrough, and the rest of them have been like really good. So I think I'd have to say Darkest Tale is still number 1 for me. I love the feel of that house. I love like it feels to me like Wicked Growth.
It does have that vibe. I really want to give Monsters number 1 because of that run through we had last night. Mm-hmm. That run through that we had it last night put Monsters from being 5th place to like 1st place for me. It just that is the run through that I want from every house every single time. And it really surprised me. However, Darkest Tale has been so consistent, and that cast, or the cast, both of the casts that we get, the energy is always fantastic. The vibe in the house is always rocking. So I got to give Darkest Tale number 1 with a slight advantage over Monsters because of how consistent they have been through the run. But man, Monsters were so good last night, guys.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It might change because honestly, like Monsters last night, you could tell like they got their flow.
Oh, they were going.
I think they changed some things in that house to make there was some pacing issues in the beginning of the house.
Yeah.
Not the very beginning, but like the middle beginning.
We'll talk about that on Tuesday.
And I feel like they fixed that.
Yeah.
They changed some things around. They fixed that. And now like I think it might slowly creep its way up to number 1. But Darkest Tale is still number 1 for me.
Yeah. Darkest Tale, number 1 for me, with a slight advantage over Monsters. But I will say this. If Monsters, when we go through it, and we are going to go through Monsters tomorrow. We're going to have to. We've only gone through Monsters, 5 times so far? We haven't gone through it every night. But the run through that we had last night of Monsters guaranteed a spot on our every night list, if you call it. And that list is houses we have to do every single time we go to the event. Dragons and Darkest Tale is on that list. Those 2 houses are on that list for us. So Monsters just made its way onto that list. So we will be doing Monsters almost every single night that we go to the event. If they can give me a run like they did last night, tomorrow night, that house will become number 1 for me. And that is because I'm a fan of the Monsters, so I am a little biased. But if Darkest Tale stays consistent and Monsters picks it up and they stay like that, that is going to be a hard fight for first place for me because I love both of those houses right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
dang. But see, that's what I want. I don't want to have definitive, first place awards and stuff. I want us to be getting to where we're in mid-October and I'm like, dude, I have 6 houses that I want to give first place prizes to. I want it to be that tough. And that's what it feels like for the houses this year is that they're very strong. The houses are really good this year. There are a couple of tweaks that need to be adjusted here and there, but other than that, I think the scare actors are figuring it out and it's showing off. It's paying off, I should say.
McBain asked, for everyone who's gone this year, is it better than the last 2 years or still too soon to decide? I would say it's still a little soon to decide.
Extremely soon.
But I will say that I feel like the houses this year are stronger than the houses last year as a whole.
This is what I would say. After the second weekend of October is when you can make that decision. Because I think that is when anything and everything that had to be adjusted has been adjusted. So what you're getting is the full potential of the event.
I don't see the scare zones this year beating the scare zones from last year, though. I think the scare zones last year were really good. And I don't know, unless a lot changes. I don't see any scare zones this year beating Graveyard.
Or even Scarecrow.
At all. Or Scarecrow, yeah.
And then the candy one in New York. I can never get the name of that one. Sweet's Revenge.
Sweet's Revenge.
I don't know. I don't know. The scare zones is a different topic, I think, that we can dive into tonight or save for another night. Yeah. Because I still feel like the scare zones need some time. Yeah. Because they unfortunately have elements they have to deal with that the houses don't come across. And usually when it comes to judging the houses, I usually give it until late September, where the scare zones, I don't usually judge them until we get into October.
The scare zones are like, the scare actors in the zones do have a tougher job of like figuring out their scares and figuring out their character and stuff because they're not given like audio and lighting.
They're out in the open, And they're the elements of the weather and stuff like that. I mean, not trying to say it's harder for the scare actors in the streets than it is in the houses. I think they both have their own pros and cons, but I think it takes a different type of adjustment for the scare actors in the scare zones than it does in the houses. So, and I think it takes a little longer. So,
and I think it's subjective. Like all of it is subjective, because like Eddie's saying the top this year doesn't compare to like Dead Man's Pier from last year, where like I know in the comments or in the chat he was saying that that's like his favorite of all time. For me, it was pretty low on my list last year. So like it just depends on what you're.
See, Dead Man's Pier was a beautiful house. And that was like when we did it the first night, I was like, dude, that house is going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
But Legends Collide, in my opinion, was also on that level for being a beautiful type scale house. Legends Collide, as the run went on, just the energy for them went from 0 to 100 like that, where Dead Man's didn't have any change in that, where we always will give houses with the scare actors have that much energy.
And it's
the reward.
Yeah, and it's so different for like somebody who is coming for like a weekend or like a week or maybe even 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Like you might look at houses way differently than we do, where like Dead Man's Pier, the first like maybe 2-3 times we went through it was at the top of my list, but I found that like towards the end of the event, like I didn't really want to go through it. And it was just because like there wasn't a lot like changing, I guess. Like the energy wasn't super high because it wasn't supposed to be a high energy house, but that's kind of what I like in a house. So I think like it depends on what your, what you like in a house. I don't really like the sea boat theme to begin with, and then like it just not being super high energy, like, or like I guess it's not supposed to be like a fun house.
This is the best way I can explain it. The houses, it does feel like this year the houses are better than the scare zones. Where last year it felt like the scare zones were better. But I think the best houses last year, like for instance, for us, our number one house was Legends Collide. I would say that house is better than our number one house for this year, which was or currently Darkest Steel, and or even just the Monster House in general. Unmasked versus Legends Collide. I like Legends Collide more. Now,
Yeah, but
granted,
we had longer to like get to.
yes, exactly. Yes, but talking about it from the perspective of it is the houses that we enjoyed the most last year are better than the houses we are enjoying the most this year. But the overall of the houses this year feels stronger than the houses last year.
We've been saying that like last year we would go to the event and there was like maybe 3 or 4 that we were like, we really want to do that tonight. Whereas like this year, there's
8.
like, yeah.
There's like 8 houses that were like, I would love to do all of these tonight if we can. And that is every single night.
Yeah.
So, and that's really where we talk about the overall perspective of the houses is where like HHN 30, we had like, I think there was 4 houses. Wicked Growth, Case Files, Hill House, and Legends, or excuse me, Icons. Those were like the 4 houses that we had at HHN 30 that were like, those are must for us. Last year, it was really like Legends Collide. I would say I'll put Weekend on that list. Like Weekend was fun to go through it, but it wasn't really a must. But it was fun. Like Weekend would be a fun if you can hit it up. Puppet Theater was 30. That was another one of those musts.
What was it called?
Descendants of Destruction. Yeah. So I would say Legends Collide, Descendants of Destruction, and then in the sound stages. I would put Dead Man's Pier on that because it was at a tier.
That other one too.
Halloween was on there, so there was like 4 houses as well. But I would really say there was like 2, 3 strong ones we would do, and then this year, I mean, Dragons, Darkest Steel, Monsters. I'd even put Exorcist on there, Blood Moon's on there, and then I would say like Last of Us has some potential. Stranger Things is getting better. Yeti's a strong one. Oddfellow's a fun one to go through, and then Chucky. Yeah. So like there is like a better overall list this year to go through than there was previous years. But the scare zones I feel are less than last year.
And I agree that the originals are just amazing this year.
So Steph and I, we're very split when it comes to originals and IPs. I think IPs are great having at the event if they're done properly, right? And I love them. But this year really like touched on me when it came to originals. Like this is a year where I'm like the originals, I'm just like, wow. Like I'm finding myself enjoying those more just because the creative team it's so amazing how creative and original they are with these stories that they can pull off that it's a lot of fun. So, but I want to pull this up. Our man here, Joseph, who's been in the Fright Club saying packing stuff, getting ready to head to Orlando Monday morning. 2 days left. And I know we have a lot of people that's actually going to be at the event this week out here in Orlando. And that'll be really cool. You guys are going to be able to come out to see HHN Orlando, which is awesome. But we're going to be out in Hollywood.
Yeah.
We're going to go out there on the West Coast. Anybody here in the chat right now that is that's going to be out in the West Coast this coming week? Any West Coast people?
Thursday and Friday specifically.
Just West Coast people. Anybody who lives out there that goes to HHN Hollywood that we have in the chat. Because if you guys aren't doing anything Tuesday, we're going to be doing a live stream. Our next live stream will be this coming Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about Hollywood a lot. Or I should say a lot more. We're still going to talk a lot about Orlando, but Hollywood a lot more because that's going to be our upcoming trip. And I feel like we're not prepared.
We never are.
I don't know. Like, we'll see. We've never been out there. Who knows?
We also did get a question quite a while ago, but I thought we could use this as a segue to talk about kind of our path that we've been taking for this year. I know you kind of talked about it, but Mundo asked if you have only one day to do the event with no express, but you do have stay and scream, in what order would you attempt to do all 10 houses? Honestly, the path that we took last night was really good, where we did New York Stay and Scream. We did Dragons first because that'll be a walk-on if you don't have Express.
I wouldn't do that, though.
Yeah, because they've been having holes.
Well, no, here's the thing. Stranger Things has been the most popular in the New York Stay and Scream area. And what I would say is if you have Stay and Scream, get here at 3 o'clock. That is the earliest you can get into the park and go straight to the Stay and Scream locations for Stranger Things in New York. Does it suck? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, you'll be hot.
Absolutely.
Bring like an umbrella for the sun.
Yes, bring an umbrella for the sun. I would highly recommend that. But do Stranger Things if you can be one of the first like 50 people, even 100 people and stuff, where you're not going to wait more than like 10 minutes to 20 minutes, I would say, for that standby line once they open up to go in the house. Because they open the houses at 5:15 for those Stay and Scream locations, which is really early. I think earlier than they've ever done before. But I would say do that. And you'd be like, well, Brian, like if we get in at 3 o'clock and they don't open until 5:15, that's like a 2-hour wait, which would be longer than us just going in when it's at a 60-minute wait. Technically, yes, but you're not doing anything else except for waiting for houses anyways. So I would say beat the crowd, get out there, be a champ, and get in line for Stay and Scream if you can be one of the first 100 people in line for it. It'll benefit you because as soon as they open at 5:15 for you to go through, you'll be able to knock that house out, especially since you have Express Pass, and you'll be able to get a very popular house that is usually always over an hour wait throughout the entire night until like the very last like 10 minutes of the event. That is always a long wait. So you would be able to knock that out. And then as soon as you're done, I would go and get in line for Dueling Dragons because in Dueling Dragons never really has a long line during Stay and Scream. Usually what we do is even though we have Express Pass, we don't use it for Dragons when we do the Stay and Scream because there is no line in standby. So you can knock out Dueling Dragons in standby like 10 minutes maybe max that you'll wait for that. And those are two houses you'll have completely under your belt by 5:30, 5:45. And the event hasn't opened up till 6:30. So I would say do that and then maybe go wait in line for Exorcist because even yesterday we realized Exorcist was at like a 15-minute wait, but it was a walk-on for us. And that's after doing Dragons and Stranger Things. And it was about I'd say it was about 5:55, I think, when we were getting in line for Stranger Things because the event was just about to open up at 6 o'clock to guess. So I would do those. And those are 3 houses you can have done if you do the New York Stay and Scream, what we would recommend before the event has even opened up. That's what we would do. And then just kind of go around from that. You can even do that. I would say as soon as you do Stranger Things, if you're like the first 100 people, do Dragons. Those are 2 houses you have done. Head over to Exorcist. You can knock Exorcist out pretty quick. Have those 3 done by like 6:10, 6:15. Then I would go to Yeti because Yeti just opens at 6 o'clock. Knock that out. Or instead of doing Yeti, you can even go to the back of the park and start doing the tents, which just opened up, and do like Oddfellow because I realized Oddfellow gets a big line right away. And Darkest Steel, you can do those. And I would say by 6:45, 7 o'clock, you can already have 5 houses done. You could be halfway done with the event by 7 o'clock, and the event just started. That's kind of what I would say.
Nice.
I'm glad you're here to listen to all of that. Hopefully I didn't go on too long for you guys, and hopefully you're able to keep up with that. But that's what we've noticed has been kind of the best that we've seen throughout the nights we've gone, the multiple nights we've gone. So, and then our favorite unofficial, official HHN Dolphin, Artemis, back in the chat with a 1999 saying, great information on the path and Stay and Scream suggestions. We'll use the first. Thank you, Artemis. We appreciate you. We appreciate the 1999. We appreciate it. And hopefully, I'm hoping that works out for you. I'm hoping to get a message back from you saying, hey, that was awesome. It worked out. Because if not, I'm sorry. I really hope it doesn't let you down. But that's, like I said, that's only like, if you have Stay and Scream, you can get into the park as early as 3 o'clock. Do it and go wait for Stranger Things. Bring an umbrella. Bring some snacks if you have to.
Water.
And yes, water. And wait it out. Fight it. Wait it out. It's going to benefit you in the long run.
Especially if you only have one night.
Yeah, especially if you have one night. If you have 2 nights, you don't have to do that.
No.
And that's why we always recommend, always get Express Pass. But if you can't, always try to do multiple nights. I would say I would rather do 2 nights than do 1 night with Express Pass.
Yeah.
Because the more nights, the better.
Which is what we're doing for Hollywood.
Exactly. So, but Artemis, thank you for the $19.99 though. Appreciate it.
Even for Hollywood, a second general admission night is not as expensive. You could do like 4 nights of general admission for the price of 1 night with Express
Pass. Yes, absolutely.
The Express Pass is getting kind of crazy.
Express Pass is insane.
And that's why there's no lines for Express Passes. At least that we've had.
Now we noticed like all of September practically for Express Pass in Hollywood is sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Sold out. But for Orlando, I haven't heard of such a thing. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And like Erica said, like if you're with a group of people, like have someone stay and then someone else go get like food and drinks, or like make friends with the people around you, because some of the food booths will be open
in the stage stream spots.
Yeah, and if you're in New York, you could even go into Louis and get pizza. The line for that has been a little long the last few times we've been in there.
Last night it was empty. It depends.
When
it's a hit
we
or
first
miss.
got in there,
yeah, it's
long.
A hit or miss. There's some days that it's packed, and then there were some nights where there's no one there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can make some friends, be social, talk to those with you in line and stuff, because you can benefit them by holding their spot while they get something, and vice versa. It's always good to make some friends in the lines there.
Crystal and Andrew, I went to look just for fun, and they're sold out of Express for the full month of September.
In Hollywood.
They're sold out of the Express Unlimited as well. They only have, if you want Express, the only way that you can get it is the after 2 p.m. ticket with Express, and that is like $350 to $375 a person.
I think it was going to cost us between $700 to $800 for 1 night.
1 night.
And so if we were to do 2 nights like that, that's $1,600, which is the amount that we paid for our frequent fear plus pass with Express here.
Yeah.
And that's just for 2 nights at Hollywood.
Yeah.
So no thank you.
It's wild.
I'm good. I don't have that money. Sorry. We've been spending it all on our cordyceps corn dogs here in Orlando.
That is true.
I've spent over $100 on that corn dog here at this event. Easily.
Probably have.
That corn dog is so good.
It is good.
I'm actually really excited to do our food video for you guys, which we were supposed to do this weekend. We've just been so busy, but we might do that when we get back from Hollywood. That might be one of our first videos back.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that because some of the food, or all of the food that we have tried so far, we haven't tried a lot of it, but all of the food that we have tried so far has been good. There's nothing that we've gotten that I've been like super disappointed in. Other than the ravioli, but it's not like it was bad. I just wish there was more of it.
Yeah, the ravioli was a
such
letdown.
Small portion.
Yeah, the ravioli, the Fedra, ravioli thing was a letdown for us, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't as good as we was hoping for it to be. But everything else has been pretty good. We had the walking taco last night for the first time.
That was good.
That was awesome. I was happy with that.
You can't go wrong with a walking taco.
But I was very happy with it. So
Joseph said that Five Fires did Express Unlimited at Hollywood and said it was only $160. He might have gotten that like a long time ago.
As soon as they opened up.
And they're completely sold out of it at this point anyway. So
yeah. And like, for instance, there are nights like as soon as they go for sale, people buy them. That is the one thing we always recommend. And we kind of went against our own recommendations, but our trip to Hollywood wasn't secured until not too long ago. So that's why we weren't like able to get all of our tickets right away and stuff.
And that's because by then we're just.
Yeah. So when they release it, they're at their most base form, where over time those prices will increase. And when those tickets went on sales, when we were dealing with the house and getting the house and stuff and transferring and all that stuff. So it wasn't feasible for us to get those tickets then. And we were even questioning if we were going to make it out to Hollywood at all. And luckily enough, we were able to make it work out and all that stuff. But it came at a cost.
Brian also said, not you, Brian.
What did I say?
Brian also said Express is available on the day at the box office, even if it's sold out online. And yeah, we've talked about potentially going to the box office, but I feel like it's still going to be like an extra, at least.
Let me, here we go. Ready? It is always cheaper online than it is in person. Now they do have an after 11 p.m. discount for Express, but you're still spending hundreds of dollars.
And don't they close at 1?
Yeah, I think they close at 1.
That's only 2 hours.
2 hours Express, we don't see it being worth it. But even if we get there, they're like, yeah, we sell it. It's going to be $300 per person. I'm like, I'm good. 600.
We can go see, but
we'll be fine. The reason why we're okay with not getting Express, we hate waiting in lines. Steph and I were spoiled being here, but we've never been to Hollywood, to Universal Hollywood. That is, we've never been there, so I'm okay with waiting in the line and like seeing things I've never seen and like taking it all in, because that's the only time we're going to be able to is for those 2 nights. And on top of that, HHN Hollywood is not like HHN Orlando, where HHN Orlando is 85% humidity and it feels like 106 degrees outside and you're sweating in lines packed with people. Where in Hollywood, it's like 70 degrees and the low is like 62 and it feels like it's 64 with the light breeze.
Oh, he said 2
and it's
a.m.
nice and chilly. So,
oh, okay.
Okay, 2 a.m. But it's very different like climates than it is here. So I'm okay with waiting in an hour-long line with a bunch of people. You know, we're all like, we got hoodies and pants on and stuff, and it feels like fall, and it's scenery I've never seen before. I want to take the time to soak that in. I'm actually more excited to see Universal out there than I am to actually do Horror Nights itself, because I just want to see the atmosphere of things.
Eddie said he'll be at Hollywood.
Oh, there we go. First time? Edutainment? First time at Hollywood or been before?
HHN Thursday, Friday, and then not Saturday. We'll be there Thursday, Friday too.
Yeah, maybe we have to say hi. See, we didn't get to see you here on the East Coast, but we'll fly far away and see you on the West Coast, right? But yeah, we'll be there Thursday and Friday this coming week.
Bring a sweater.
We'll be yeah, see, hey, bring a sweater.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, Steph's 100.
I have a whole closet full of. I have a whole closet full of sweatshirts I never get to wear.
Yeah, so you gonna bring all those?
No.
The whole luggage is just gonna be your sweaters.
You can bring them all.
I'm like, okay, this is all I could bring.
We'll actually get to wear little flannels at HHN.
We'll be able to rock these. I didn't even think about that.
Maybe like I'll wear mine Thursday and you can wear yours Friday, so we're not walking around matching.
I was gonna wear mine Thursday too.
Okay.
I'll have to like put something else on, and Steph's ready to go. I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, all right? And then I'll just throw the flannel on, and I'm like, I'll meet you in the hallway. And I'm like, we're matching, sucker. Let's go. Let's look like we love each other.
Yay.
We're off to see Horror Nights and film it all. Also, I got a question for you guys. No, I'm gonna save it Tuesday. Never mind. Thanks for listening. I'll save it for Tuesday for our. That's a Hollywood portion.
Okay.
It's a big Hollywood portion question, so we'll save that for Tuesday. I'll probably forget about it. If you guys are watching this live stream and you get to be there on Tuesday's live stream, yell at me in the live stream saying, Brian, what was that question? Okay. So I don't forget.
Brian said that Thursday is opening for Not Scary Farm, so maybe it won't be as busy at HHN.
Hopefully. I think of that. I really want to go to Knott's, but we're not.
No, we don't have time.
Yeah, unfortunately. Or the funds. Because it's expensive. This year's expensive for us. This is probably the most expensive year we've ever had.
I mean, we bought a house, so yes, it is the most expensive year we've ever had.
This year's been expensive. So, I think...
Is that awkward pause at the end of the live stream where we're like, okay, we don't have anything else to say.
We're done. Good night. No, there's still some things I want to bring up. So I apologize. Steph and I haven't really been putting a lot of content out there.
People keep saying we should really go to Knott's.
Just skip what I was saying.
We don't have time. Our trip is literally jam packed. We don't even have a free night to do that. And
this is what I want to say. Like Steph and I, we haven't had really time off this year. We haven't really had a vacation and stuff. And this trip out to Hollywood for HHN, we're still going to be filming and working and stuff, like to get video for you guys and all that, photos, videos, and all that. And the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be going to Disneyland. And I know we're an HHN channel, right? I know we're going to Disneyland, right? But Steph's never been to Disneyland, and that's something I'm taking her to for like our vacation. So we're getting 4 days just to us, and We said we weren't going to bring any cameras for the Disneyland portion, but
I want to.
I may bring the camera to film and Steph may bring hers to take a video or to take some photos. So we might do that possibly. But that Saturday is when we check out of the Universal side and we go check into the Disneyland side. And we have our date night. We're going to go out to eat downtown Disney and try to enjoy the Disneyland portion. So we get those 4 days off. Those will be our 4 days off for the year. For the whole year, we get 4 days off.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be doing. But we may bring the cameras for Disneyland and maybe do some. It might be a Fright Club video, very simple edit for you guys to check out. Maybe, I don't know. We'll think about that. But I know a lot of people have been saying Not Scary Farm, and Saturday would have been the day for us to do it. It's too much to pack in, and we want to enjoy some time off. So we'll try to do Knots down the road, but just like I want to say for you guys, we are a Halloween Horror Nights channel. I am a Halloween Horror Nights loyalist.
Yeah, I don't know that Brian would really care too much for.
I think I would love Knots. I really do. I've seen video of Knots for years now, and I think it'd be enjoyable. But it's the same thing where, and I know some people might give me some backlash on this. Hollow Scream here, I would feel like that's the level Knots is at. I know Knots is better. But like, I am such a fan of Horror Nights here and stuff. I just don't know if anything could really compete with the Horror Nights Orlando quality that we get. But I know Knots would be amazing. I'm not saying it wouldn't because, for instance, one of our local haunts here, Sir Henry's, is fantastic, and I love Sir Henry's and stuff. It's not at the level like HHN is. I'm an HHN loyalist, so sorry.
And then Fred had asked if the hours for Disneyland will be abbreviated because of their Oogie Boogie Bash, but we actually planned it to where the days that we are at.
I got it figured out.
We planned it so that the days that they have Oogie Boogie were at Disneyland, and then the day that they don't have Oogie Boogie, we're at DCA.
Oogie Boogie.
So we won't have like shortened hours.
Yeah, we'll be good. I got that. That was one that I planned. So, fun fact, if any of you guys care, you don't have to. But for those of you that do, when Steph and I met in 2019, our first ever vacation we were going to take, like to go together somewhere, was going to be Disneyland. And in 2019, in December, I was planning for us to go to Disneyland for 2020. And that was supposed to be in December 2020. We were going to go around the Christmas time period. And of course, we all know.
You guys know how that worked out.
Yeah, all the events of 2020. So we ended up never being able to take that trip ever. And here we are 3 years later.
That was way before our channel.
Yeah, that was way before the channel too. And here we are 3 years later. We're going to actually be able to do that in a smaller capacity than what we're going to be able to beforehand. But we're still going to be able to go out there and do that. So
yeah,
cool little fun fact tidbit. So we've been looking forward to it. So I've had that planned out when I knew like Oogie Boogie Bash was going to be coming around.
Which we tried to get tickets for Oogie Boogie.
It's expensive.
It's not even that it was expensive. I literally physically could not get them.
Yeah.
Because of the whole like wait time.
Yeah, but the servers like shut down or something.
Yeah, so then they planned it for a different day, and then like I tried to get on that day and it didn't work. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Disney's a mess. So there you go. We're not going to do Oogie Boogie because it is, like I said, expensive. Everything is so expensive now. Back in my time when things were, I'm going to tell our kids like,
and thankfully, I don't know if Disneyland is like the busier nights are like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like the weekends, but we will be going on Monday and Tuesday. So we're hoping
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But
I meant like
honestly, regardless if it's busy or not, we're just gonna have a good time because we're just not gonna worry about anything. We're gonna try. We'll see. Knowing our luck, it tends to not happen.
What is the longest wait time we've seen on a house this year?
475 minutes for Monsters last night. Yep. That's a true story. I'm not lying.
Was it a glitch?
Yeah, it was a glitch. The app did say 475 minutes for Monsters. But, like, realistically, I think the highest that I've seen posted and it being actually true represented was 115 minutes.
Yeah.
I think 115 minutes, Stranger Things and Last of Us.
Yeah.
Those two houses got to that, and they were about 2-hour wait.
I saw a photo of Chucky being 130, but we didn't see it in person.
Yeah. So Joseph saying Stranger Things was 300 minutes tonight. But see, I wonder if that was like a glitch or not.
Sometimes they do have glitches
And then
in like the app where it's like it says it's like
like
500 minutes.
We're
And you're like,
what?
that's not right.
Back in 2019, Classic Monsters, I had a picture, a screenshot on my old phone, but Classic Monsters was like a 900-minute wait
Yeah.
or whatever. And I was like, 900 minutes? I was like, would be the
And we
next
all
day.
like show our like other castmates and be like, we have the longest line.
900 minutes. People are waiting in the parking lot to get to us. Yeah, but it's just sometimes there's glitches, but I think the most accurate post that we've seen at the longest is 115 minutes. I think we've seen for House before. And yeah, so, but I realized we're at an hour and 50 minutes in our live stream. I really didn't think we were going to go this long. I want to, before we close it off, I do want to say a couple things. Going back to that video that Horror Nights posted on YouTube, whether, I don't know if it's on Universal Horror Nights' YouTube page, but it's where the one or the other. Is it on both? It might be on both. Anyways, but it's an hour and 10-minute watch, and it's where the creators got together and they're talking about the behind the fears, is what it's called, like behind the fears of this year. Actually, I think, give me 1 second. 1 second, guys. 1 second. I want to see if I can actually pull it up for you guys to see.
I wonder if they would ever close a line because they have nowhere to put people. I could see that. I feel like they have like a lot of capacity in most of the lines, though.
Yeah.
But I could see them like stopping people coming in for just like 10 minutes to let it catch up, I guess.
All right. So I'm going to put on the screen real quick. Hopefully I don't have anything that I shouldn't be showing on the screen, but boom. Okay. So on the screen here, guys, this video right here is what we're talking about. It's an hour, 10 minutes, and 39 seconds behind the fears, Halloween Horror Nights 2023, where some of the creators come on this little like panel, as you will. Very cool aesthetic, by the way, that they have here. But they talk and discuss basically the creations of this year's event, where it's houses, scare zones, merch, things like that. And it's a really good watch. We've only gotten, like I said, 27 minutes into the video, and that's just because we haven't had the time fully to watch it. But you have like Mike Aiello on there, Charles Gray, Laura Sauls. You have some others that pop in there too. And it's a really good watch. If you get the time, highly recommend checking it out, because it does shed a light on some of the creative process on making these work, and some information we didn't know about the houses that we, of course, now we do, and recommend watching it. And this is something that we've been asking for years for Horror Nights to continue doing, and we love to see. And it's something that we plan, and things that we have blueprints and scripts ready to go for our channel as well, to do things like this, where we can bring people on board and talk about some of the stuff like that, and get into depth. But they haven't done something like this since 2018. 2018 was the last time. So what I recommend, I think, I don't think it's on here. Let me see. We're going to scroll with us. Look at all this Horror Nights content. Yeah. Halloween Horror. Oh, these were, I love these. Give me a second. I'm going to find it. See, they don't have it on this one. It's on the Universal Orlando one. I know that for sure. But anyways, yeah. So I would recommend watching the 2018 one first. And that one is on Universal Orlando. Just type in Halloween Horror Nights. It's 2018 live. Something like that, where the creators come together. And that was the first one they did. And it's phenomenal. It's remarkable. I loved it. And it shows you the behind the scenes process of getting the stuff together. They also, one thing that I really loved about it is it was before the event. So it was before the event started, and they were showcasing for the first time ever some of the merchandise even. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about that, and they were even talking about houses and some teasers and things you might get to see in the house and stuff. Whereas this year, the event's already going on. So, and like I said, we haven't finished it, so we haven't seen the full thing of it, but they're explaining the creation and how they got to what the houses are now. So I would recommend, if you haven't seen the 2018 one, watch that first, then watch this one, because it is kind of a continuous segment, slightly, at least the way they start off this one. And then check this year's out, because it's really cool. It's a good watch. And Hornites, the quality of the team over there in the film crew is it's always top tier. Which, please take me. I want to go see. I just want to watch. I want to be in the background when they're filming and they're doing all this. I just want to be back there, and like I'll bring a sign saying "Woo, go team, beat all the other haunts, woo." So yeah. Anyways, so with that being said, guys, though, I think that is going to start wrapping it up for us in tonight's stream, because we have nothing else to talk about, right? We a lot of the stuff we were going to talk about today too, we decided we're going to save it. We'll save it for Tuesday's live stream. So the next thing that you guys see from us live stream wise will be Tuesday, and we're going to be hosting, I think, at 8:30 p.m. We'll do Tuesday night. We're going to be talking about the houses this year, about things that we would like to see some improvements on, things we would have done differently. And we're going to talk with you guys directly as well, that live stream, about what you guys would have done and what you guys like to see, some of the changes and all that going into effect. We'll do that in Tuesday's live stream. We'll talk more about the scare zones as well. And then, of course, for a good bit of the live stream, we're also going to go ahead and discuss HHN Hollywood, because that Thursday morning, we're going to be flying out from Orlando to Hollywood for the first time ever for us, and we're going to be able to experience HHN Hollywood Thursday and Friday. And we're going to try to film and capture as much as we can for you guys, so you guys can kind of see our experience with it. We're going to let you guys know how we feel about it, because we're hearing good things about it this year. So we'll have to see, because I don't know. Our experiences sometimes seems to be always very different compared to other people's. But we're going to be doing that. So Tuesday, remember, live stream 8:30 p.m. Hope to see you guys there, especially our West Coast friends. If you guys are watching this, we really hope to see you guys there, because we might need some help when it comes to planning and talking about that stuff. So we'll do that Tuesday. And then, like I said, we'll break down the houses over here and some changes and all. Also, to let you guys know, one of the videos that we have upcoming, or one of the live streams, I should say, we're probably going to save it towards the end of the run, if not during the off season post HHN 32, where we want to create an original custom HHN house on a live stream with you guys. So we'll talk about like a monster, or if it's a group of humans, and what's the motive, what's the genre, the style, what's the setting, come up with the ideas and stuff. So that's something that we are drawing up right now on script to have with you guys for a live stream sometime either by the end of October, if not in November and December. We'll do something like that, so we can just have a list of these custom created HHN houses that we get to make with you guys, which we think would be a lot of fun, as well as some other things. Like, guess what? We filmed opening weekend night number 2 as a video, but we're going to release that for our Fright Club members. So any of you guys that are Fright Club, that video will be coming soon for you guys at some point, once I can get myself to getting that video edited. So you'll have that for the Fright Club of our opening weekend night number 2. We also will be creating a Behind the Screams tour video. We went behind the screens this past Saturday. We're going to be doing an in-studio hybrid video of like that and discussing, like a recap, and kind of give you guys updates and details on that for a video coming up. We're also going to be having our HHN Orlando food video, which is always an exciting one for us. That'll be coming up sometime after we get back from the West Coast and doing HHN Hollywood out there. Then, of course, we have HHN Hollywood's video we're going to be doing. A questionable Disneyland Fright Club only video. Maybe. We don't know. Not promising that one. And then we also have a couple of more that are some fun and interesting types of videos that we haven't done on the channel before that we plan to do for this season as well. So with that being said, guys, we're going to be wrapping up tonight's live stream. I want to appreciate all of you guys for the continuous support, and for everybody that has stopped to say hi to us, gotten some photos, to talk with us, go through houses, get some food at the event this year. You guys have been awesome. It means the world to us, and we love getting to catch up and meet with you guys at the event, because it's a lot of fun. It's a lot, and I feel like we met hundreds of you guys so far, which is incredible.
And like Crystal and Andrew said, don't forget about if you are going to the event and you wear a Hawaiian shirt, make sure you take a picture.
Yes.
So you can send it either in the Discord or post it on Instagram using what was the hashtag we decided on?
Halloween Hawaiian Nights.
Yes.
Yes. You do hashtag Halloween Hawaiian Nights. We do a hashtag? Was it hashtag Halloween Hawaiian Nights BFO or BFO Halloween Hawaiian Nights or something like that?
2 different tags.
Oh yeah, 2 separate tags. So hashtag BFO, hashtag Halloween Hawaiian Nights. Do both of those tags in your Instagram post, Twitter, wherever it may be. I wouldn't recommend Twitter because I don't use Twitter too much. Really, Instagram and over on our Discord. But do the post on Instagram because we're still doing our Halloween Hawaiian Nights, the first annual one ever. And I've been very bad about it. We've just been so busy. I haven't even posted my submission photo yet for this year's event because I'm going to try to win the first annual one ever, which I get bonus points anyway. So good luck in beating me on that.
Aren't you picking the winner? So how are you going to pick yourself?
I'm picking the top 10. Unless there's only 4 people.
And then we vote.
Yeah, and then the fans will vote who wins, which I'll probably just pick myself for you guys to vote.
Okay.
Which style you like of me better. But so the Halloween Hawaiian Nights, we're going to be hosting that. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Join us over on Discord. We have the link in the description of this video that you can check us out over on Discord. And we got a lot of things in the works and stuff. And we'll get back into making more content very soon. We've just been so busy enjoying the event and meeting all of you guys at the event. It's been a lot of fun. So I think that's going to cover it, huh?
Yeah.
We're over 2 hours, huh? Look at that. So also see a quick question, and I hate to be that guy, but do you think Stranger Things is coming to HHN this year?
I already said no.
Let me go ahead and write back to this guy. No, Chris. You wrote no. I'm saying no. There we go. Perfect. So we both did it from the same account. But anyways, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for us in tonight's live stream. Thank you so much for joining us and hanging out with us and calling it a night because I'm tired from this past week. Holy smokes. And I realized I don't even have the closing outro.
Like ready to go.
I don't have anything ready to go.
Nice.
Nothing.
Someone said the Saturday live stream was like super chill. I'm like, yeah.
We're tired. Saturday live stream, chill live stream.
Yes.
Promise you, this coming Tuesday will be a lot more energetic because we'll have some sleep.
Probably not.
No, it's gonna be, we'll see. We'll have more energy that way. So
yeah, and if you're there tomorrow, look out for us.
Yeah, keep an eye out for us. We'll be out there. Don't know how long, but we'll be stalking around. So that being said, guys, peace out. Good night. We'll catch you guys in the next video. And like always, we'll see you in the fog. Ew, no, I don't like saying that. We'll catch you in the fog. See you in the... Who says that? Is that like a Horror Nights thing?